Welcome. If you're here with us, you're probably looking for something beyond the ordinary quiet, something a little darker.
Definitely. We're diving into stories you share, real accounts where that peaceful rural life, the dream, it shatters.
Yeah, we're talking about farms, ranches, isolated places where the quiet hides some really, really deep secrets, unimaginable stuff buried just under the surface.
And that's our focus today, not just analyzing, but narrating these, frankly, terrifying true stories. They touch on crime, betrayal, even something more primal.
These are stories about fear, about survival when you're utterly alone, about what happens when the land itself holds the darkest truths. Okay, let's start with this one story. It really sets the stage. A guy buys 80 acres down in Texas, 2018.
Right, and the price was suspiciously low.
Exactly. He said himself, he smelled a rat immediately, but, 80 acres for a steal. He went for it anyway.
Happens all the time, doesn't it? You see a bargain, you ignore the warning signs. The excuses they gave him were pretty standard too, right? Couldn't make payments, family emergency.
Yeah, flimsy stuff. He didn't buy it. And pretty soon, he started finding things. He was exploring way out in the northwest corner, thick woods, hard to get to. And he finds these ATV tracks, not like recreational ones. These were primitive, heavily used, beaten down.
Leading somewhere specific.
He followed them, pushed through this thick wall of cedar someone had clearly let grow up as a screen. And behind it, a huge clearing. Massive.
Maintained.
Perfectly maintained. Organized. And then, the smell hit him. Chemical fertilizer, just reeking. And then he saw it. Irrigation equipment, loads of it. And hundreds, literally hundreds of marijuana seeds.
Wow. So not a small time patch? This was serious on his land.
Totally.
Yeah.
A big operation. So he gets his game cameras, gets picture proof right, takes it straight to the sheriff. Thinks, okay, action time. The sheriff just smiles. Can you believe it? Smiles and says, son, we already know about that operation. It's been going on almost 5 years.
5 years, and they knew. That's chilling. That points to something really broken there. Either corruption or maybe just fear.
Exactly. The sheriff laid it out. The previous owners, they found the growers, went to the local cops, and were immediately threatened. Told to keep their mouths shut, or else.
So they didn't just sell cheap. They fled, abandoned the place.
Pretty much. Ran for their lives. And now this new guy is standing right in the middle of it. Major drug operation, compromised local law.
What a nightmare scenario.
But he decides, no, this is my land. He cooperates with the DEA. They raid the place, arrest about 10 people, and just 2 weeks later, payback.
Oh, no, fat.
Brutal. He's in his camper, his home on the property, and suddenly it just erupts. He said it sounded like a machine gun shoot. At least 5 rifles just dumping round after round into the camper.
They weren't trying to scare him. They were trying to kill him.
Absolutely. Turned the whole thing into a bonfire. He only got out because his truck was hidden in his pole barn, grabbed a few things, and just ran.
And he's still running.
Since 2019. He says he's constantly looking over his shoulder, afraid his detractors get a little closer to finding me. That isolator he bought, it just made him a target.
Yeah, no witnesses out there, no quick help.
Okay, so that's the danger of walking into an active criminal mess. But what about secrets buried in the past?
Right. Our next story flips that. The owner wasn't planting secrets, he was hiding them.
Yeah, this involves a caretaker. Gets what seems like a dream job, right? Looking after a quiet 125-acre farm. Nice old guy owns it. Easy money.
Seems peaceful enough for a while.
For about 7 months. Then one day, the FBI shows up. Not just a car or two. They brought a backhoe.
A backhoe? Okay, that's specific. They weren't just knocking on doors.
Nope, didn't even go near the house. Drove straight out to the backfield. They knew exactly where they were going.
And had intel, precise intel about the land, not the house.
The caretaker watches all this confused. Then later, sees the news coverage. Big hole dug in the field. And footage of 2 black bags. Body bags.
Oh, wow.
Turns out the nice old man owner, longtime mob associate, and those bodies. 2 mob guys who'd vanished years before.
So the caretaker had been living, sleeping, working right on top of a mob graveyard.
Can you imagine? He quit that same morning, just walked away, realizing the ground under your feet has that kind of history. Terrifying.
Sometimes the betrayal isn't from strangers, though. Sometimes it's
Closer.
much closer.
Yeah, personal betrayals in these isolated settings can be incredibly disturbing, like this next account.
It's about a friendship, a really long one. 20 years. Between this woman, Rose, and a pig farmer named Sonny. Eventually, it turned into a relationship.
And Rose had some vulnerabilities, right? A history.
Yeah, she'd been institutionalized before, struggled with self-harm, so when she disappeared after they had a fight, and her car was found near a bridge, well, it seemed plausible.
Suicide. An easy conclusion. Maybe too easy, especially out there where cases might not get the deepest look.
Exactly. Case closed, probable suicide. Years go by. Then a new DA comes in, reopens the cold case.
And they searched Sonny's farm, the pig farm he inherited.
They did, and this time forensics. They used luminol, the chemical that finds blood traces even after cleaning.
It glows. Well, they found traces in the kitchen, okay. But the real concentration, huge amounts, all around the bathtub and in the drain.
The bathtub. That specific location is chilling, considering what came out later. Points to a contained violent event and a frantic cleanup.
Sonny gets arrested, denies it for a while, but eventually he confesses. He killed her.
But the body was never found?
Right. The narrator, who was friends with both of them, didn't know the whole story for years, learned it later from a cop. Cop had had a few too many drinks one night and just told him.
What was the detail?
Sonny apparently told the police he didn't bury Rose because he was afraid coyotes or something would dig her up, find her, expose him.
So, what did she do?
He dismembered her in the bathtub where all the blood was found. And then he fed her body parts to the pigs on his farm.
Oh, God. That's monstrous. Feeding her to the animals he raised.
The narrator just can't reconcile it. His best friend for decades, capable of that kind of cold, calculated horror. The trust just obliterated.
Utterly destroyed. How could it not be?
Let's shift gears a bit. From that kind of intimate, hidden evil to something sudden. External violence. An ambush.
Right. The story from Oregon. A camping trip gone wrong.
Yeah, just some teens out on a big ranch, like 500 acres, doing some target practice. Totally normal stuff.
Until it wasn't.
Exactly. They start hearing these whistling sounds. Bullets. Zipping past their heads. At first they think maybe ricochets, but no.
They realize they're being shot at.
From about half a mile away, some car parked down the road, people they don't know just shooting at them.
That's terrifying. Pure random violence in the middle of nowhere.
Then a round hits the windshield of their truck, leaves a big hole. Suddenly it's real, deadly real. They dive for cover, hiding behind the truck, totally trapped.
No one to call, miles from anywhere.
They actually managed to fire back a few shots and the car just sped off. Scare them away, maybe.
Thank God no one was hit. But the trauma.
That's the thing. The source says years later, even just seeing that stretch of road where the car was parked, the whole sick feeling, the anxiety, it all comes flooding back instantly.
Yeah, trauma doesn't just disappear. Especially something that random and terrifying. It just takes one little thing, like you said, and you're right back there.
Okay, this next one. It suggests something maybe even bigger. A potential cold case, or cases, plural, hidden by time and isolation.
The woodshop discovery.
Yeah. Farmer buys a place, starts renovating an old wood shop on the property, finds a loose floorboard, and underneath, an old tin box. Inside, some random trinkets, like an old lighter, a plain gold wedding band, and a stack of photos.
42 photographs.
42.
What?
Young women.
Oh.
Looked like they were from the 80s, maybe early 90s. But here's the really unsettling part. They weren't smiling. A lot of them looked scared.
Oh, that's disturbing. Not like happy snapshots.
Not at all. And each photo had a name and a year written on the back, like Mira 1988, Sybil 1991, Stephanie 83. And then the clincher.
The ring.
The plain gold band inside the box. It was engraved with a name. And that name matched one of the names on the back of a photo.
Oh my God. So he found a serial killer's trophy box from the previous owner, almost certainly.
Seems like it. 42 pictures.
And the truly terrifying part is, how could potentially 42 women disappear over, a decade or two, without anyone connecting the dots, without raising massive alarms?
That's the question, isn't it? The isolation, the lack of scrutiny. Maybe they were transients, maybe. Who knows? But it allowed someone to potentially get away with mass murder.
And the farmer who found it is left with this awful burden. What do? Go to the police, unearth all that horror, or just put the floorboard back?
An impossible choice. Okay, let's move from calculated human evil to something different. The violence of nature itself. Primal. Immediate.
The story from Montana, the farm in the 60s.
Yeah, this one's just tragic. It centers on a family, grandfather Mac and his grandsons, sheep farmers. The older brother Eric was apparently kind of a local legend. Became a man, they said, when he shot a charging grizzly bear at 13.
Wow, that takes guts. Or maybe just necessity back then.
Right. But years later, that courage didn't matter. Eric was out fishing, And he was attacked and killed by a mother grizzly, protecting her cubs.
Oh no. Killed by the very thing he had famously faced down.
Grandfather Mac was the one who found him, found what was left of him, completely torn up. And the source says seeing that just broke him.
Understandably, the sheer brutality of it.
Yeah. This man who'd have been strong his whole life, ran the farm, raised the family, just seeing his grandson like that, it destroyed something inside him. The spark he once had was gone, the account says.
And the grief was too much.
A few months later, Mac walked up into the hills near the river where Eric died, and he took his own life.
God, that's heartbreaking. Shows that the wilderness, its power, it can inflict wounds just as deep, maybe deeper than any human crime.
It really does. Okay, one last story. This one brings it back to the constant sort of day-to-day readiness required on isolated land.
The escalating animal problems.
Exactly. Farmers dealing with feral pigs tearing up his garden, get serious about hunting them down, revenge. Then a coyote kills his daughter's dog. Beloved pet.
So the threat level keeps rising. It becomes personal.
It culminates in this one really terrifying moment. His daughter's out collecting eggs from the chicken coop, and she gets cornered by a coyote right there by the coop.
Oh, no. Jeez. Close quarters.
Father hears the commotion, runs out, sees the coyote, sees his daughter trapped, reaches for the pistol he usually carries, and realizes in that split second of panic, it's empty. He forgot to reload it.
Worst possible moment.
He's about to just launch himself at the coyote, barehanded, to save her, knowing he's going to get torn up, but he has to do something.
Adrenaline just takes over.
But before he can even move, bang, a loud shot rings out. His wife, she had grabbed his .357 from the house, saw what was happening, shot the coyote dead. Right there.
Wow, saved the day. Saved both of them, probably.
Total overwhelming relief in that moment. But man, the message is clear, isn't it? Out there, you can't let your guard down, not for a second. The threat is always close, and you or someone in your family has to be ready. Always. So what all these stories, these accounts you shared, really drive home. It's the dark side of isolation, isn't it? That space, that quiet, that freedom. It's the same thing that lets evil hide, lets it grow.
Exactly. Whether it's organized crime or a neighbor's horrifying secret or just the raw danger of the wild. When things go bad out there, there's often no safety net, no witnesses.
And the consequences are just devastating. Cold cases that stay cold, violence that leaves scars, physical and mental, that never really fade.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Yeah. So the next time you look at a remote piece of land, maybe out on a drive somewhere, ask yourself, do you just see peace and quiet? Or do you maybe feel a little chill, wondering what secrets might be buried there, what the person who walked that ground before you took to their grave?
These aren't just stories. They happened.